Hello, stock market enjoyers. Disclaimer: this is not some advice to go long or short the equity. I am simply presenting my thesis. In this video, I will present the following: 1. The reasoning behind the purchase. 2. The risks associated with the stock. And the last one, of course, the price targets. On a good normal day, I would just stick to my process, value, trade, swing, position, long-term holds. But ironically, today, we're talking GME. I upgraded the stock to a strong buy on April 24, 2024, because that's what I do now. I rate stocks for three simple things. One is me throwing a market tantrum. I did this with gold, and it done amazingly well. I still think we're just beginning with gold, but you never know. I want to think there's a higher power leaning in my favor with my trades, but maybe I'm just lucky and this is all nonsense. I'm not talking more about gold, so back to GME story, and this is real, by the way. It was Tesla's earnings. To be honest, going into the print, I was short, and that print sucked so bad, but the stock ripped anyway. I thought it was criminal nonsense, but I don't know, my risks were oversold and there were signs of a huge rubber band snap. But there was also a chance of continued waterfalls. Obviously, didn't go in my favor, and I was so frustrated because I was right about the print. Thankfully, it's not a huge position, true story. It was relatively small but leveraged because I do know I'm going against a nonsense stock, a cold stock, with no regard for valuations. And it snapped at me, this idea that maybe we're back to shitcoast ripping. It proved true weeks later. GME came to mind that very same moment. Carvana didn't. I looked for shitcoast meme stocks, with at least a good balance sheet. At least there's some fundamental value there that, it's not going bankrupt in like a year or so. They have good liquidity, current ratio, long-term debt to equity. Their net positive equity, although it's mostly cash. So that's also a risk I raised when I posted about this GME. Going through these meme stocks, I thought GME made the most sense. At the time, short squeeze is not really a thesis. Well, it never have, but it never hurt. By the way, that's your second reason, decent balance sheet. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna go long GME tomorrow. This time we go above 120. I like the stock. It's not going zero anytime soon, so it must go to $60. Hell, even higher. That's a nonsense measured move. In terms of positioning and market dynamics, I am familiar with. It's not widely known. I don't even know if it exists, but that's how I read markets. That is hedged, wildly shorted, nonsense stock or anything at all. But it's just a thesis in my books of stock market knowledge. You'll know more about that soon. I'm compiling a course. Back to market tantrum. It became very evident to me that this market is run by idiots who didn't care for valuations, for just pure price appreciation. I'm sure you hear this a lot, that the stock market is a bubble, wildly overvalued. I agree to some extent, but there are pockets, I agree, but there are good stocks. A fine example is Tesla's earnings. Not even earnings, just the valuation itself is not even close to making some sense. Another example is AMD recent QAR. Another miss. That's 10 Qs. 10 quarters of stupid prints and estimates are still at hopium levels. If you can tell, I'm talking about bubbles, and it's not limited to tech stocks like SMCI. Although, I'm not too sour about that because they're printing. They're actually printing. AI is real, like Nvidia. Restaurant stocks are a bubble. CMG, TXRH, Wing. We're pricing years of potential revenues, not even the profits. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this market. Fuck value. Fuck valuations. I'm going long GME since bubbles are normal now, even at higher rates. This market is held hostage with stories of future growth. Many, many years, in fact. But when prints come subpar or they miss, they hardly sell. We draw up another DCF model nonsense, and these idiots tell stories about how attainable these things are, or things will be. They talk with such certainty. It's almost true. They put nonsense multiple to these stocks as well. GME is a meme stock, okay? It's a shitco we are all familiar with. It's a near $0 stock. That's your RR. And I wanted this to work, to make a statement. So only put something you're okay with losing. Don't go full monkey, but have conviction. I thought GME could also be a leader in AI robotics 10 years from now. Wild, right? It's a catty wood stock. I don't know. Who knows? But guess what? I want everything priced in 12 months from now. $360, $500. Do you see where I'm going with this here? People with AUMs, people with power over markets can just throw nonsense PTs and promises of nonsense into the future without regard for the current prints, the valuations. Really, they can get away with anything. They game the game. They short normal, unfamiliar stocks to zero. But they can't do that with stocks that trade on good stories. Because stories fucking sell. People like appreciating assets. It somehow becomes a reflection of how good a story is. Hence the bitcoins, the shitcoins, and ultimately the stocks that just go up in value apparently. Have you heard Palantir? It's a $1 trillion market cap in the making. It's gonna disrupt Microsoft. See? Nonsense. They're great companies, sure, but they're also great companies at fair value prices. The catch is, the problem, is like they're like 60 to 90% below the current market price, and that is a small comparison to its uncapped upside. There's a rush to pricing everything in this market. It's become a joke. So I decided we fight stupid with stupid. GME is my antithesis for the stupid bull market. GME is my antithesis for a stock market bubble. This is not a bull market. Have you seen every other stock? How they guide flat to negative top line revenues? Let's not talk about year over year decline in their earnings and margins. The chips didn't trade cyclically. While they're still printing shit, their stock just go higher. Hell, even make new highs. Yes, I'm talking about Intel, Micron, TXN, and more. Now let's talk technicals. It's fairly easy to understand. If you look at the daily, it's noisy, but you could easily argue this stock is shorted, gamed. The new lows with respect to time are not significant, if you will. 10%, 20%, 25%. It's really not damaging. If you're a position trader, you'll understand these drawdowns are really not significant, almost normal. Weekly, bit more pronounced. You'll see this trend line here, 07 to 2013, and this overshoot here. Normally, that's where you want to go long. I was here. I am here. Let's see the monthly. A bit cleaner. This is exactly why I wanted to see 30% last Friday. It was a prediction of a technical clean engulfing green candle. Also, look at the overshoot. It invalidated last month. Also, it bounced on the 200-month DISMA. But is this the bottom? Well, it could very well be. I don't know. Maybe. Again, we're trading technicals with some fundamentals, but not really. But I can tell you this. Maybe we're just starting. And it's only invalidated when, of course, it reverses the whole move. Or is it? The 3-month chart looks clean as well. This play, I will give it 3 to 9 months. Sit on it, watch it go, or do nothing at all. Now, I know this is not a normal video you'd want to watch. It's boring, I know. Not much, visuals, but I don't give exact ins and outs like your normal furus would give. I give RR, but please keep this info to yourselves. I don't expect more than 5 people to watch this seriously, but if you find this well, tell people about this video, not the thesis. I only charge $3 for this, for you to have more money to yourselves. Remember, the more it is out there, the more it'll be exposed to the opposite side of the trade. But here are the PTs I want for GME. Now I don't know if it will go there, but I want GME to make a statement. I want this to make me rich, of course, but I also want this to ridicule the biggest bubbles we have at this day. Remember, the stock must be bought up to go up, but who will buy just technicals? The game is on.